Welcome to Prudential Thailand podcast, and today we will be talking about what it means to be a change maker in the world of ESG. Joining us today is Diana Guzman. She's Prudential Director of Group ESG and an expert in sustainable investment and social impact. She's also a global-minded supporter of diversity with a passion for innovative financing mechanisms that enable sustainable and inclusive growth for the future generations. For this episode, we'll explore about Diana's motivation throughout her career to see what are the factors that influenced Diana to be one of the most passionate supporters in ESG. So, without further ado, let's meet our special guest. All right, welcome to the show, Diana.
Thank you very much. That sounds like very long.
Yeah. As I said, I've been doing some research on you. All right. So, for this podcast, the big question is how to be a change maker, which is a kind of a question that I developed from the article, which is called Change Makers, Diana Guzman, from the London Business School, which is also where you got your master's in business administration, right?
Indeed.
Okay, so Diana, in the article, finance is one of the main focus, and you expressed your passion on tackling poverty and the lack of opportunities in especially developing countries. Very inspirational, and as you were working to make a big positive change to the society. And from that article, I believe you are the change maker.
Oh, no. I'm trying every day.
No, you are. We all are.
We all are trying every day.
We all try to change something in our life, right?
Yes.
But before we get into the details about ESG and change maker, let us get to know you more through some of your motivations and things you have achieved, right? So here comes the first question. What motivated you to pursue a career in ESG? How did you get your start in this field?
Yeah. Thank you very much. I think you already mentioned it. I come from a developing country myself, so I grew up in a developing world. But I studied finance.
Yeah.
The reason why I studied finance is because I've always been attracted of the power of financial instruments. I know it sounds very geeky, but I always felt fascinated by the power of business and the power of finance and mobilizing capital. But I always believed that if you use existing instruments to have positive impact, right, instead of another crisis and another crisis and another crisis, you can really move the world, right? With the same instruments, with the same incentives we already have, but just direct them to another objective. You can really achieve impact. And that's what fascinates me about ESG, because it brings societal and environmental impact with business. So what got me into ESG is that because of my background and because of my education, then I got an MBA, as you said, in the school that is known for being very business oriented, the most business financial oriented school out there. I started on a quest on understanding, what else is there, what else is there to the business world. So many years ago, I found myself in China, where I study. I did part of my studies, and China at the moment was developing a lot of renewable energy projects, right? And I was a very poor student back in the day. This is 16, 17 years ago. And with no job, no future, no career opportunities, but with this quest, understanding why. How can we actually create more social inclusion? How can we tackle the environmental problems? How can we create less segregation between the rich and the poor, right? So I didn't understand why some people are born with the capabilities or the opportunities and some others are not. One thing that really pisses me off is that the place you are born is the place you're going to die into. I don't believe in that. I believe that if you're given the opportunities, regardless of where you are, you're going to make it to where you want to be. So how can we give more opportunities to people, right? China back in the day was doing renewable energy projects, and they needed somebody with no fear, with nothing to lose, young, curious, and completely naive to the risks of the world. And I just because I was alone, I was alone. I was a young female in my early 20s, alone, fresh out of Chinese school. I studied Mandarin in China, though I speak a very poor Mandarin. And they needed somebody who could go around China and understand what are these renewable energy projects, and what is the type of financing they need, and can they get carbon credits. It was the early days of the carbon credit, and who can buy them in Europe. So I said, okay. They said, you speak Chinese, you understand? Yes. Do you understand finance? Yes, I was trained in finance. Do you speak English? Yes. Do you understand English law? Yes. Okay, go. So they sent me this company who was urgently needed someone to understand if these projects were valid or not, viable or not. And there I was with absolutely no idea on what a wind farm does or a solar panel, and just figuring it out. And that's where I realized that you can actually use financial instruments and capitalism approaches to create social good.
And like you said you
social and environmental good.
Okay, and you said you jumped into like the unknown, right?
I was completely naive.
And
so they said, you say ESG, how do you find ESG? No, ESG found me. That's the difference. I was in the quest of something that I knew there was something more than just making more money for people, like in financial sector. There was like nothing against the financial sector. I work in the financial sector now. And like I said, I'm a big geek for financial instruments. But I wanted to mean something more. I wanted to get something more out of it. Very similar to insurance, actually.
Oh, okay.
Through a financial instrument, you protect people's lives.
Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yes, right? Definitely.
There you go.
Like, you jumped into the unknown and then you figure it out. But, I mean, there must be some particular journey, right? From unknown, from, knowing anything, don't knowing anything, to figuring it, like, all out for yourself. Like, how hard is it for you to take that?
Yes, very. But I was young and I was hungry. You see what I mean? Hungry I was curious. I knew I was on the path of what I was always looking for. When I graduated from finance, I got job offers to work in private wealth management. I got job offers to work in private equity. I did forex trading for a while. I did, and I turned them down. My mom was absolutely, she wanted to kill me. She had spent so much money in my education. I was
How young were you?
22.
Oh.
Yeah. So when I refused those jobs, my family, well, my mom at the time, my father had already passed away, but she was like, you're wasting your life and you're going to Asia to do what? But I was in the quest, and I was naive and young and hungry and willing to I have nothing to lose. I guess that's it, right? I have absolutely nothing to lose, and I don't regret it for a day.
Thank you for that story. Very, empowering. Truly. Thank you all for listening to our first episode of Prudential's Thailand ESG podcast. In the next episode, we will be diving deeper into the meaning of ESG and its crucial role in today's society. I hope you guys had a great time listening. Have a wonderful day, everyone, and see you later.